I just want to thank Malik Hooker for saying something I've been saying for the last 2 years on Undisputed. I needed somebody inside to validate it. I needed somebody in the locker room to echo it, to drive it home. I needed a player, especially a defensive player, to say what I have been saying. And Malik Hooker said it on Keyshawn Johnson's podcast. Thank you, Malik, for having the guts. I'm not sure it was premeditated. I'm not sure he had thought about it. Maybe it just spilled out of his mouth because it spilled out of his soul, out of his subconscious, out of his psyche. Malik said, in effect, Micah should be the fourth to get paid on this team, after obviously CD, after Zach Martin, after Dak. Micah should be fourth because Micah has not lived up. He has not. He has not lived up to the billing. As Malik said, he hasn't even scratched the surface, and he has not. It seems like Micah, early on in his career, is a little more interested in commentating via podcast on football than actually dominating football games. That's how it comes across to me, and I've said so many times. So now he obviously wants to be the highest paid defensive player in the history of professional football. And I'm not sure he ever will be the best defensive player in pro football in any given year that he plays in. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I'm starting to have my doubts. So paying him the most money ever for a defensive player could be yet another really bad move for my Cowboys. It could be yet another crushing albatross of a contract that hangs over this team's head going forward and keeps them from even sniffing an NFC championship game, the likes of which they haven't seen in almost 30 years. So somebody other than me, because I'm just a hater, but somebody had to light a fire internally under Micah. Jerry's not going to light it. Stephen Jones is not going to light it. Dak's definitely not going to light it. I don't even think DeMarcus Lawrence would step out there and light it as the veteran presence on that defense. But Malik Hooker said, I'll do it. Again, I'm not sure he slept on it and did it. I think it spilled out. And he called out Micah Parsons. And Micah was not happy about it. And Micah fired back and called out Malik. And all I can say is good for Malik. Talk Luka Doncic, the biggest lightning rod for love him or hate him reaction in these finals. Paul, what have these first three games shown you about Luka?
Well, it's shown me he's one of the game's greats. But he needs a little more help if you want to compete with the Boston Celtics. If you want to compete in the Western Conference. Now, let's put this in perspective, Skip. Dallas was a 5 seed. We forget that. They're not supposed to be here.
Yep.
They were not supposed to be here.
Well, they haven't had home court in any series.
They didn't have home court in not one series. Think about that. They beat the number 4 seed Clippers. They beat the number 1 seed OKC Thunder. And they beat the next Michael Jordan Minnesota Wolves. Let's just put that all in perspective. So, Luka, he's good enough to win you a championship. You know, he just ran into a Boston Celtic team who's been the best team from day one. And we forget that because every round we crucified them for beating the team that they supposed to beat, and and not playing against the superstars that they were supposed to play against, now you're seeing the Boston Celtics' true colors. So, yeah, he needs to improve on his leadership. He needs to stay away from the reps. But let's not get it twisted. Luka is one of the game's best players, and he will be an MVP of this league one day. So let's just back up before we start doing a little more criticizing of Luka. For the first place, they're not supposed to be here. So that in itself, getting this Dallas Mavericks team that's getting exposed right now, because they are getting exposed. That team was a 5 seed, did not have one home court advantage throughout the playoffs, but yet they're sitting here in the finals. So for them to be on the verge of getting swept, I still think they can keep their heads high and just build on what they need to build on for next year.
Funny, man.
Okay.
You say keep your heads high, you getting swept. Just keep.
I mean, they wasn't supposed to be here.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like, even though they were the 5th seed, it wasn't like they were like 25 games out of first place. Just, you know what I'm saying? And they ran up on a team minus a Kawhi Leonard. They ran up on a team that had one dude in Shea, and a young center in Chet, and you know, and Dort was fine at defense, got into foul trouble a bunch, and then they ran up on a team in Anthony Edwards that had
Baby Jordan.
Let's stop, man. You know that people just see flashes of him. And they ran up on a Minnesota team that had Ant-Man, and Cat showed up for a quarter and a half out of 4 games, 5 games, whatever that number was. That's basically what they saw. Now, in terms of what I saw from Luka, he's going to get his numbers. He's a phenomenal scorer. He's a phenomenal passer. He gets the rebounds because he's 6'7". So he's going to do all of that sort of stuff. There's no question about it, Skip. He high usage rate. What he did, 39 last night?
Yep, it's high.
Yeah, that's
It's
tough.
high.
That's tough.
So you say, well, he's going to lead a team to a championship. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You played in the NBA. You've covered it for a long time. Maybe I'm missing something. But I've never seen a guy win a championship that only scores and does not play defense unless he has other defenders around him that play. You know, we could say, well, what about Steph Curry? Well, Steph had Draymond and Clay that could play some D and do some stuff.
Definitely.
He don't need to be, you see what I'm saying? He can give up a little bit on the defensive end because he got some other great players around him.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't think Steph is Luka bad on defense.
and I was about to say, Steph ain't Luka bad on defense at all, and they had players around him. So when you think about winning championships, Paul Pierce, y'all had D. Y'all scored, all y'all could score when y'all wanted to, but y'all also played defense. The team played defense. So when you start looking at it, until he fixes that, just give me something. Oh, you don't even have to be, you don't have to be Larry Bird, all defensive player. You don't have to do, but just give me something. Give me a little more effort and understanding, getting away a little bit more. Until then, all we gonna keep talking about is his offensive game. Oh, he's the best scorer, he's a this, he's a that. So, because it's starting to remind me of what's gonna happen, and I won't be the only one, Skip. It's like in my sport. The guy does great in the regular season, he's got all the passing yards and all the touchdowns, but when like you say, the playoffs reveal something.
They do.
And then all of a sudden, the guy gets to the playoffs, and he just looks different. For whatever that's worth, whatever that is, he just looks different come playoff time. Yeah, he's going to get his numbers. So if I've got the ball in my hand 39, 40% of the time, you don't think I'm going to get my numbers? Of course I am. If I'm shooting it at a high clip 29 times a damn game, I'm going to get my
I think
numbers.
it go beyond his defense, though. I think he has to change the way he plays.
I agree.
I don't think, you know, you
But
can
how
win.
you gonna change the way?
I
It's
just
not
think-
too late. He's been probably playing this way since he was 13 years old overseas.
Like we said this with James Harden, that, you know, he could be successful and get these numbers, but the high usage rate of a player, it's tough to win a championship that way. And, you know, Luka plays similar to how James Harden was in Houston. He has to change the way he plays offensively. Defense, you know, certain guys just don't play defense.
But
it don't matter.
It's offense.
But his strength is offense, but you have to be a ball mover, more of a ball mover. You got to be able to play off the ball. You have to be a little more versatile, I think, offensively for them to have a chance to win it all.
Yeah. Okay, this is what I've seen from Luka Doncic through 4 rounds of the playoffs.